This experience started out, I was in like a parking lot. I knew that. And I was with all these boys around me who, and it was just a big group of boys, like the Golden Guides. And I knew that we were at a type of like car meet. Well, the boys were giving me my own car that was sort of like it wasn't anything fancy, but it had a really good engine put into it. And I knew that I didn't know how to handle this type of vehicle or how to maintenance it. And I started asking all these literal questions. Well, how do I drive it and stuff like that? Well, I could drive it just fine. I got behind the wheel and it was no big deal. And it was very interesting. One of these boys came up to me. I don't know if he was a Golden Guide or not, but it was somebody from my past that I had recognized. I used to physically know, and they carried a pistol with them in a little holster. And I remember I asked them, I said, "Oh, can I see that?" And they said, no. They kind of didn't want me to see it, like they were embarrassed of what it was or something like that. And I got a view that it was a type of pistol that religious people carry in order to commit a type of like harikiri or something like that, which is a Japanese thing where you sort of like, you destroy the physical body for a sake of honor or something like that. It was something like that. And I just kind of said, okay. And I turned away from him. And all the boys were getting in their cars and leaving the car meet. And I got into my little car, and I remember driving on the highway, and we were in the right lane. Well, I remember I veered out of the right lane and I pulled off to the left, and I went off to some place, and because I had a certain idea of something to do with the car, to the car, and I knew that that wasn't the, you might say, best choice to make, but it was something that I went into anyways. And I remember I came out of that experience back into the physical realm, and I was wrestling with it in my mind, like, why did I decide that, and certain things like that. And I was trying to look at it, well, was it even beneficial, and certain things like this. And so I considered it. I kept considering these different points of view until it hit me like a lightning bolt. It was like a light bulb went off. Or I saw the sun, and you might say. And it was that it's not about going left or going right. Because why am I wrestling with it, trying to be in this right lane and do the right thing and be on the right track? And in this idea, it really presented itself like an idea more so than, like actually, whatever, doing this and that. And so I really recognized it to where I was looking at it like in a bird's eye view, and I just X'd it out. I just dissolved the experience. Once I realized that it was not about choosing left or right or, it wasn't about these things, the recognition or the challenge was to see it indifferently, that it's not about being here or there or thinking that that was the right choice and that's not the right choice and things like that. So it was really interesting to look at it that way. And then I just dissolved it. I just dissolved it and said, that's not the focus of left and right, good and bad, right and wrong. It's just the focus of the isness and the real awareness and the nowness, or the real awareness nowness. So that's what I wanted to share.
Did you figure that out on the real side, or when you came back?
When I came back into the physical, I kept considering, like I said, like tosses in their sleep. That's what I was doing in my mind. I was tossing, and I was like, at first I was like, well, why did I decide that? I started to look at my intentions as to why I went that way. And then I was like, okay, that doesn't really make sense. And so I was trying to adjust somewhere in my consciousness and even just singing the NUUU, trying to get back into this right lane until it hit me from singing the NUUU and just sort of looking at it objectively that that's not the way either. It's not right or left. That's not the right choice and that's not the wrong choice. It presented itself like a two-way street, like an option, but that's also restricting in a way that it's this way or that way. That's a restriction more than it is a choice. It is still a choice, but a choice of restriction. Well, which way are you going to be restricted into? Because they're lanes, right? Because I started to ask myself, well, where am I even going in that right lane? I don't know where that goes. It could go wherever. I was just sort of going along. And in a sense, yeah, with that, with the Golden Guides, but my intent, there was no intent going down that right street. So it doesn't make sense anyway. you might say. So that's what I recognized and I wanted to share.
It's like the lawyer asking the witness, just answer yes or no. You know, it's either this way or that way. There's nothing else. It's all one-dimensional. So it's good. Good recognition. That's good.